Okay, I'm recording a Nifty video after a pretty long time. We're looking at the hourly charts, and I thought it was a good time to go over whatever happened since April, because I haven't done an update, a video update since then, and this should be a good insight into how exactly things panned out. So as always, I never change the markings on my last chart, and I do it real time so that we can actually see what happened. On this chart, you can see the last markings I made in April in my last video was that we are completing third, fourth. There was a triangular pattern in April on the hourly charts, and then you started a fifth wave, and then I was looking for a correction. Now I also marked that you do 61% up to 6800 and then drop to 6645. That was the expectation. It didn't bounce that far. It retraced a little more than 38% and then started falling. So it did not achieve the equality target. And what actually ended up happening is we got some kind of an ending structure. Now, as I was traveling at that time, I did put out a note in Nifty Daily. I said that if you cross 6720, which is essentially a little above this trend line, I said once you've broken this trend line and broken the hourly averages, then it amounts to a trend reversal, wherein wave C of this correction ended up being truncated, which is it's much shorter than wave A, and it's an ending pattern. So that got confirmed simply breaking above 6720, and at that time I looked for again first target as a retracement, because you're never sure whether a complex pattern is developing, and then targets just got raised from there on. So what really happened is that impulse subdivided into 1 and 2 in terms of actual counts. So moment you had 1 and 2, where we started looking for 3, 4 and 5 as the next set of legs. Now when we actually look closely, the subdivisions were quite complex for this pattern running into the election, so it was not clear exactly how it's panning out. If I just started blindly counting, I would have marked minor 1, 2, not sure whether 3 occurred here. If I did, and that's what I think I did that time, in the daily post I said this is 4 and you'll get a 5 up, but the third was actually short, so the fifth ended up being much bigger, making this count also slightly invalid. So there are two possibilities with this impulse. Either you can try making it an expanded triangular structure, which is again weird, because we are looking at a third wave. It should be, and it's quite big moves, so it should be impulsive. Probably I would say the counts of that were a bit messy, but I think you got some kind of an impulse. And then I was looking for a fourth wave. Now fourth wave, since the second wave was a zigzag, the fourth wave most probably is a flat or a triangle. Okay, and I kept writing that we are either forming a triangle or a flat. I thought a triangle for quite some time, initially possibly all the way till down here, which is around the 7100, or fourth wave of lower degree closer to 7090. So that level, which is essentially this, kept coming up. Now while the Nifty has given a spike here, this spike doesn't exist on any other index, so I think that's a false trade. I don't know how it showed up, but on the Nifty chart it looks as if that target got achieved, but I would presume that that doesn't exist. And so if I simply redraw the line, I have a flat correction here, but a complex one. It's not a 335, it's a 333. And then what I realized later is what I could have done, and it's also an alternate, is that this is essentially a running triangle, and what it would look like is A being here, so then 3 would have to end here. This is another alternate way of counting this structure, and everything is a series of threes up, three ups and 3 downs, where wave E actually goes below this lower line, but the requirement in any throw over and throw under is that it should not go beyond the previous swing, in which is usually in a triangle wave C. So the wave C low here was close to 7200. It did not break that, and in that sense, even going below this lower trend line, it's only a throw under. It did not really violate that requirement. So so another way of taking this entire structure is a triangle. Else, if you wish to take the third wave as ending near the election day high, then it would be a complex 333 WXY structure. A WXY structure is basically a series of 3 waves. I got asked this question recently. W itself represents 3 waves. What that means is that the first 3 wave decline is ABC, then you have a rise which is ABC, and then we have another decline which is ABC. Now because it's a correction downwards, the directional moves are then marked, each three wave is marked as a W, which is, so first ABC down is converted into a W. So W basically represents a three wave structure. The next ABC up is essentially a connector which connects the W to the next set of three waves. So we call it an X, and then the next three waves as Y. Now in more complex patterns, and especially on long-term charts, when you're doing weekly and monthly charts, looking at multiple years, such corrections often go on till Z. So it's marked as W, X, Y, X, and Z, which is 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, a series of complex correctives. Whereas in this case, if you have just two series, then it's W, X, and Y. So that's what WXY represents. Each one is a three wave, and the X wave essentially connects the first three wave correction with the next three wave correction, and you could get one more X and one more three wave correction. But in an ongoing pattern, a series of threes is often a triangle, and that's why it struck me that I could take it as a running triangle, because we did not really break the 7200 mark, and that was simply a spike trade or a Pinocchio trade in the chart. Now, so that leaves us with fourth wave complete, and we are entering the fifth wave. The last couple of weeks I've been trying to count the fifth wave, and we started 1 and 2. So when I go back to this, essentially I didn't think that it could be a running triangle from this region itself. I thought that the running triangle actually would have started from the third high here, and that is why I was expecting that it would probably have come down once again and completed wavy, but again on that day, I think mid of day, I sent out a chart showing that the Bollinger Bands moved up and the support got raised to 7350, and unless that breaks, chances are that we've started the next impulse, and surpassing the day's high, which was 7417, confirmed that, and so we are now into wave 5 impulse. We completed the third wave today, and the fourth wave has been forming. Again, this fourth wave is either complete as an ABC, which means this is A, this is B, and this is C, and C on a lower time frame appears as an expanding triangle. So most probably this is the preferred wave count. However, I also mentioned today in Nifty Daily that it could be a triangle, and that too may be complete, because you're seeing the end of day momentum indicators turning up on the hourly chart. So either it's a running triangle complete, or we just did ABC, and this very minor fifth wave is subdividing into 1 and 2. So it's one of these two, and we are headed into the fifth wave of this overall structure, where whether I take 1 equal to 5, I think these legs are all almost equal in size, and Sensex it's almost more equal. So this would give me a minimum target of close to around 78.27, just above the medium term channels in which the chart is moving. Now looking at the daily chart, one of the interesting features of this count, the way I've taken it, though there are alternate ways in which I can take it, is that if I mark this entire structure as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, then the third wave actually ends up being shorter than the first, and in that sense the fifth wave would have to end being shorter than the third itself, otherwise it would violate a basic impulse requirement. And for that, the maximum upside for this move would be at around 8100, where wave approximately close to 8100, where wave 5 would essentially still be shorter than the third. If it goes beyond that, then it would become longer, and we would have to consider again alternate wave counts, which could mean either an extension, which means this would be a further subdivision, and we would have to keep counting on the way up. Also, it's possible that instead of marking one here, that we break it down, subdivide the whole structure internally, and say yes, it can complete something here. But the point is that once you're beyond 8100, you'll leave too many alternates open in terms of how you count it and complete it. And so the key to actually knowing would be to look for the first set of 5 wave down on the index at some point. So far every correction that we've seen has been 3 waves. Even when this started, I started looking for 3 waves, and moment it completed, the sign was that again it's headed higher and I started setting higher targets. The same thing I did here. Initially I was marking it as ending the fifth wave at the election high, but as the pattern started developing, I changed the marking to 4 uh, much before the move actually took off. And the same would have to be done again after this last 5 wave completes. We'll initially look for the potential that you get a deeper correction, and if the internal structure starts showing that it's simply a consolidation or a 3 wave down, then once again we'll have to look at the potential for extension. Now in all of this, many times we are seeing certain sentiment and other indicators overshoot, which often give an indication that the next correction at some point would be a medium term one. But like I said, we really need to confirm some of these indicators do go out of whack essentially when you start a bull run, because excessive buying can cause the open OI put call ratios to go a little out of sync, or volumes to really take off, and those typical signals which work during a range bound market sometimes fail in a trending market, or they give repeated signs but don't really work till the point that they actually work. So you'll have to actually take the sign of a reversal from price action itself, and that means you'll have to keep a key eye on price action every time you see a 5 wave pattern completing, and then take it from there as far as trading is concerned. So that's all in this update for me for the 12th of June. Thank you.